Hi, and welcome in our showroom here at the Rolomatic headquarters in Switzerland. I'm standing in front of our newest addition to the GrindSmart family, the 660 XW. And in this video, we're going to explain to you what we have added in our new software, VirtualGrind Pro 1.34, to set up the robot and to calibrate it.
So if you are the proud owner of a Rolomatic GrindSmart 660 XW, VirtualGrind Pro version 1.34 gives you a big improvement to set up the robot and to calibrate it. To show you this, I've opened VirtualGrind Pro here, and we can see when it recognizes that it's connected to a 660 XW that there is a new tab that's called Robot. If I click on it, we get directly into the control page where we decide the pieces to do, the load cassette and its position where to pick pieces, the unload cassette and the position where it needs to pick pieces. We also have buttons to test the load and the unload sequence, and we have a go rest button to put the robot into its rest position. We also have a button to put a piece into the control station during production, what's called the control station or the shuttle. If I then go to the settings, which we can see up here, we can go to the setup. Here we have the main data where we choose the cassette type. We can see that we have a choice of all the standard Rolomatic cassettes. We have the 3 different gripper ranges that are necessary for this machine. The number of cassettes, so if you have only 2 or 3. The shank diameter, we can choose or to have or not have a tool bigger than the shank diameter. And we give the V-block width, the piece out of gripper, and the load-unload length. And with this information, when the robot is already calibrated, we know enough to have the robot work properly. Now if I choose a gripper type that is not supported by the cassette type, we get a message which can become very handy to prevent errors, especially when you get acquainted with the machine. Regarding the cassette types, when I click here on the plus, we can see all the standard cassettes. So these are Rolomatic standard, but as a user you can have your own custom cassettes as well. You can add them with this button here. If you know which Rolomatic cassette is most similar to it, you can choose it from this list. Maybe the B300. You can give it a name and you can define the step. So here on the left bottom side we have a help file that shows you what we're talking about. So we give the distance between the holes, we give the height of the cassette, the total height of the cassette, the number of holes, and according to the reference, the button in which the cassette will be holed into the cassette table. We give the distance to the first hole, and by doing so we've created our own cassette. With this button we can still edit it or we can throw it out. So if I go now to cassette types, we can see that under the cassette type B I got my own demo cassette type. I can click on here and see the values that are in there, but I can't change them here. To change them I have to go back to custom and use the edit button, and then we can see it's white and we can change the values. So this is a first improvement which is very helpful. Then we have some timers which we normally don't need to change. And we have the calibration. So for the calibration we have the different objects that needs to be calibrated. And when I click on the target here, we have a wizard that opens each time, which explains what needs to be done. So here we are in the wizard for the gripper rotation alignment. We see summarized which cassette we have and which gripper type we have. When I then press on next, we see what needs to be done. It's also explicitly written down, and we can see each time we press next what needs to be done, again, go through it and follow the steps. And once we're finished and we press on finish, then on the machine, obviously, the value will be taken into account. Can do the same thing here. So here also we have some explanation. We see what needs to be done. We save the position, tells us when it's saved, etc. When we press cancel, it asks us if we're certain that we want to cancel. And this way we can calibrate the whole cassette. Now when you've installed 134 the first time, you will need to go through this complete calibration. Once you have done this, or when you have a new machine coming in with the VirtualGrind Pro 134 or higher, then all those values will already be in here. So here we have all the calculated values, which are not changeable and which come from these wizards of the calibration. However, during normal usage of the machine, it can be that some of these values need to be corrected. To do so, we have offset values here, and here we can choose to make small offsets that give you a change in the calibration values, and which you can bring back easily without changing the calibration values themselves. And there are still some optional parameters, which is not the object of this video. But if you have any questions, obviously, feel welcome to contact your local agent or the Rollomatic support.
I hope you enjoyed these explanations, and I want to remind you that on myrollomatic.com you can find the release notes with more information. If you have any other questions, please contact us or your local Rollomatic representative. Thank you.